the curious little monkey. Where's he going? We'd all like to know.
Curious George goes to the library. George, said the man with the yellow hat, I have to take some books back to the library. Why don't you come with me? They got into their little blue car and drove to the library. I'm going to the front desk, George, said the man. You can look around, but don't get into trouble. George went in, walked down the hall, and peeked into one of the rooms. Boys and girls were looking at picture books. Miss Adams, the librarian, was at her desk stamping piles of books with a rubber stamp. Miss Adams, called a library helper, you're wanted on the phone. I'll be back in a minute, children, said Miss Adams. Read your books and please be quiet. What was that thing on the desk? George was curious. He jumped up, picked up the stamp, and tried to do just what Miss Adams had done. He stamped and stamped and stamped. Look, there's George, said a girl. Hey, shouted one of the children, let's play follow the leader, and George will be the leader. George kept stamping. The children ran over to the desk and started to stamp books. That's fun, shouted a boy. They all cheered and made a lot of noise. Then George jumped down and leaped onto a big globe of the world. It started to spin. First slowly, then faster and faster. The children clapped and cheered again. George was giving them a good show. But all of a sudden, George lost his balance and grabbed the ring of the wall map. Down came the map, and down came George, just as Miss Adams appeared in the doorway. Oh, no, she cried. What's going on here? Stop this right away. Then she saw George. How did you get in here? I'm going to get the head librarian. George was scared. Don't worry, George, said a boy. We won't let you get into trouble. We'll help you tidy up, said a girl. The children hung up the map. George helped. He put the stamps back and straightened out the books. Look what George has found, said one of the children. It was a book about monkeys. Let's see it. George put the book on the floor and opened it. All the children gathered round him. Look, a boy cried. There's George in that book. As George turned each page, one of the children read the story of a monkey that had lived in the jungle. It was George's story. The children sat and listened. Just then, Miss Adams ran into the room, followed by the head of the library and the man with the yellow hat. Why, Miss Adams, said the head of the library, no one has ever kept the children so quiet. How did you do it? Well, said Miss Adams, George did make a lot of noise, but now he made up for it. Choose another book to take home, George, said the man with the yellow hat. We've already read that one plenty of times. George chose a book, and Miss Adams checked it out. Next time you visit us, she whispered, leave the stamping to me. All the children waved goodbye as George and his friend got in their little blue car and drove back home.
One morning, Martha came into Will's bedroom looking very fierce.
Quack, Mom! What's the matter?
What's the matter? It's these holes in your clothes, of course. You've been climbing trees again, haven't you? She said, as she handed him another pair of trousers. Look, Here's a new pair for you to wear. Now you look after them this time and come and have your breakfast. Will dressed quickly and hurried down to the kitchen. As he was finishing his breakfast, there came a knock on the door, and there were all his friends, and even said,
Is Will coming out to play, please? Gobble, gobble.
Well, all right, said Martha. Remember, Will, no climbing trees.
Quack. All right, Mom.
Will replied, and out he went with the others to play football in the big field. It was a great game. The ball flew backwards and forwards, and they were all very amused. When the ball came to Shawnee, however, he gave it such a hard kick that it shot high into the air and landed in the topmost branches of a tall tree.
My ball,
Said Dick sadly.
how will I get it down from there?
Then Will said,
Quack, Dick. Don't worry. I'll go up and get it for you.
Everybody looked at him in surprise.
Gobble, Will. Your mother told you not to climb trees, didn't she?
Said Even. Will smiled.
Yes, but she didn't tell me not to fly.
And away he went. It didn't take him long to find the ball between two branches. He picked it up and shouted,
Here it comes!
and threw it down. Then he looked around him. He could see the whole countryside for miles around. But then, the tragedy happened. Will was about to fly down when the branch snapped under his weight, and he slipped down until the stub of the branch tore a huge hole in his trousers. His friends heard a loud quack and saw Will hanging by his trousers, unable to move.
We'd better get Will's father at once.
Cried Dick. And Shawnee said, I'll go, and ran as fast as he could go to the farm. Humphrey didn't take long to hurry over and look up at Will.
Oh, can you move?
He called.
No, Dad! I'm stuck!
Will answered.
All right,
Said Humphrey.
bye for now.
Quack! What do you mean, bye for now? I can't move!
Exactly.
His father called back.
You just stay there for an hour or two. Maybe you'll learn not to climb trees and tear your clothes then.
And Humphrey started back towards the farmyard, shaking with laughter. Well, of course, when Dick and the others followed him and explained that Will hadn't climbed the tree, but had only flown up in order to get Dick's ball, Humphrey forgave him and fetched a ladder to get him down. When Martha heard about it, she laughed and laughed until her eyes were full of tears. And she forgave Will for tearing his trousers and gave him and his friends a piece of spider cake each. When Will went to bed that night, he thought he had the best father and mother in the world. But he decided not to climb trees ever again.
Good night. Quack.
Gushy, smushy, sleazy, slush, sticky, sticky, squish. Snapping, popping, sloppy stuff. Tell me, what is this? Chomping gum with mouth wide open, gross sticking wrinkled wad, a slippery slobbered slime, rolls around my teeth and gums, then up my tongue it climbs. Chomping gum with mouth wide open, gross outside to see. I don't care as long as I don't have to look at me. Ooh, chomping gum. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yum, yum, yum. People turn away and say, ugh, disgusting scuzz. Gooey, gooey, yucky, yuck. Guess it's all because I'm chomping gum with mouth wide open, gross outside to see. I don't care as long as I don't have to look at me. Ooh, chomping gum. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yum, yum, yum.
Outrageous. One morning, soon after her arrival at number 32 Windsor Gardens, Paddington's Aunt Lucy announced she wanted to do some special shopping. "I want to buy Mr. Brown a present," she said as they neared Barkridge's. "How about some pipe cleaners?" suggested Mrs. Brown. "He's always running out." "Pipe cleaners? I want something better than that. Besides, I'd like something you can all enjoy." "How about something for a boat? Daddy's been talking about buying a rubber dinghy for the holidays for ages now." "That," said Aunt Lucy, "sounds like a very good idea indeed." The man in the boating department of Barkridge's looked most impressed when he saw the Browns' party approaching. "And what can I do for you all?" he asked. "We're really looking for something suitable for a rubber dinghy," said Mrs. Brown. "Perhaps Madam would like a puncture outfit." "A puncture outfit?" repeated Paddington. He gave the man a hard stare. "Mr. Brown hasn't even got his boat yet." The assistant gulped and turned his attention to Aunt Lucy. "I can see you are a lady of taste, Madam. That happens to be our biggest and best model. It's our special self-inflating dinghy. You may not believe this, but it inflates into a boat as large as this room in a matter of seconds. All you do is pull the cord and stand well clear. It comes complete with automatic distress radio, flares, seasick pills, fishing rod. It isn't just a boat, it's a way of life. There's even a bag of emergency sweets. Have one." "Thank you," said Aunt Lucy. "Don't mind if I do. Bears like boiled sweets. And I'll take the boat as well." "My goodness." "But you can't," exclaimed Mrs. Brown. "It's much too expensive." "I have my savings and Paddington's allowance." "Paddington's allowance?" chorused the Browns. "I always put some by out of my bun money. Paddington often sends me postal orders, but I never cash them. I've been saving it for something special." Now it happened. The Browns exchanged glances. They were learning something new about Paddington every day of Aunt Lucy's stay. But before they had time to say any more, they were startled by a loud groan. "Oh dear, is anything the matter?" "I feel sick." "It must be all those boiled sweets. She's finished the packet." "Perhaps a seasick pill will do her good," exclaimed Paddington. "I'll get one." "Watch out." "It's all right, I can see them. I'll just..." "Oh." "Oh dear," said Paddington. "I think I must have pulled the wrong string by mistake." "That," said Mrs. Brown, "must be Aunt Lucy. I think she's in distress." The next morning, when the Browns sat down to breakfast, they found to their surprise they each had a large jar of honey on their plate. "Aunt Lucy left them for you," explained Paddington. "It's very special. It's made by the bees in the garden at the home for retired bears. And it's very sweet because they keep getting at the marmalade." "She left them for us?" repeated Mr. Brown. "Don't say she's gone." "Aunt Lucy doesn't like goodbyes. She asked me to say them for her. But she left this for you. Thank you very much for having me and for looking after Paddington so well. Now that I've got used to it, it does seem a funny name for a railway station. Happy boating. Aunt Lucy." "How very nice," said Mrs. Brown. "We thought for one nasty moment you might be going back with her," said Mrs. Bird. "Go back to Peru?" exclaimed Paddington. "I'm not old enough to retire. Besides, I don't think Aunt Lucy would like to think of me leaving home, even if I wanted to. Which I don't. I'm much too happy here."